We are seeing younger people getting cancer compared to decades ago, and cancer was really a disease of older people. Developing a vaccine obviously is something that Cancer Research Malaysia would strive for. Prevention is the most logical step to take. There's a lot that is available in the healthcare system for screening, for support, for rehabilitation.
Right.
But as I said, to navigate all that is a huge maze.
Yeah.
Like any cancer patient can tell you, it's hugely expensive, hugely exhausting. Whatever we say we can provide will not be equitable if we do not get our act together to see what we can do.
Welcome back to another episode of Life Confessions, where we have amazing guests join us and we learn from their life and their research and their expertise. Today with us is Datuk Professor Dr. Lai-Meng. She is Malaysia's inaugural National Distinguished Professor and also Senior Consultant Histopathologist at UMMC. Thank you so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you very much.
You also sit on the board of trustees at Cancer Research Malaysia.
Yes, I do.
You have so many achievements and roles that there is so much to ask you.
Well, it's just part of living.
Well, let's start. What first inspired you to, specialize in cancer pathology and diagnostic innovation? And why do you believe this work is so vital for Malaysia?
Well, in terms of pathology, in the first place, it was something that really captured me when I was a medical student.
Right.
It was a field, and still is, of course, a field that explains the science behind disease. So it's the foundation of medicine, and that really captured me. So I decided to be a pathologist, actually, when I was a medical student.
All right.
Not many in my class made up their minds about their career so early, but I did. And when it comes to cancer pathology, it's so much part of a life of a pathologist when you make diagnoses, because so many patients with serious illness have cancer.
Right.
It is cancer's already among the top 5 cause of morbidity or illnesses and death among patients, among people globally, and certainly in Malaysia as well. So obviously, it's a very big part of the life of a pathologist, because we are the diagnosticians who finally give the answer or the diagnosis of what's behind an illness that the patient comes to hospital to seek a relief for.
Right.
Therefore, it is obviously very crucial, because it's a very serious illness, and it consumes so much of the work of doctors and healthcare professionals to look after them. But from the point of view of the patient and of society, it's also very serious, because it's a huge part of the healthcare budget to care for them. And socioeconomically, it's also very exhausting and tapping on the family of cancer patients that are afflicted. So therefore, to be involved in cancer pathology and in its diagnosis is, a very important area, a vital area to be involved in.
And that's why so many people appreciate you for what you do. And do you find that people come up to you, and because this job can sometimes feel, because you're not always meeting people directly, the people that you actually are helping, do you find that there are instances where people come up to you and directly show appreciation for what you do?
Well, I do. I mean, people are generous souls generally. If they have a chance to express their gratitude or any views, they will do that.
Right.
You're right in that in pathology, I'll be a little bit in the background, but we do meet patients. We do meet them at discussions about their welfare, and there are always occasions for public engagement or public awareness talks where they do get very curious, and they do appreciate that the diagnosis is very important.
Yeah.
Because without the correct diagnosis, you cannot have the correct treatment.
Absolutely. You sit on the Board of Trustees of Cancer Research Malaysia, CRM. Tell us a bit more about how you define CRM's mission in advancing accurate cancer diagnosis.
Well, CRM is a unique organization. It's a non-profit organization, probably the only one in Malaysia that actually focuses on cancer research. And the cancer research is focused on how to narrow the gap for survival of cancer patients.
Right.
It jives with the sort of thing I do, because a lot of the ways to improve survival of cancer patients is to firstly understand what cancer is all about. Of course, there are different ways of approaching how you help cancer patients. But if you do not investigate what cancer is all about, you will not be able to progress in finding new ways to define it, to diagnose it, to find new things about it, and therefore to create or innovate new ways of treatment. So what Cancer Research Malaysia sets out to do is to look at where Malaysia stands in terms of the cancer scene. It does not strive to, defeat cancer globally. It's this huge, lofty kind of thing, like I want to save the whole world kind of stuff. But it is very pragmatic. It focuses on what is the big issue for Malaysia. And you realize that the statistics are quite clear in that, well, more than half of cancers in Malaysia are in Asian patients. And yet the survival rate of cancer patients in Malaysia is way below the global average.
Oh, okay.
Which is sad. If you look at research on cancer, only 10% of cancer research come from Asia. So that's a huge gap. And that's why Cancer Research Malaysia sets out to focus on cancers that are important for Asia, particularly important for Malaysia, so that we're not left behind in the seeking of new knowledge. Without that new knowledge, there's going to be, it's not going to be easy to find ways to improve the survival or fill the gaps of whatever gaps we have in the cancer scene for Malaysians. So I felt that it was an area that I could put my energy into, because it's non-profit. It's really there to try to help, and it's got a logical approach to how it wants to go about filling the different gaps within the cancer scene in Malaysia.
Considering the work that CRM has already done, have you seen any discrepancies between the research that's done globally and the research that has been done or the work that has been done by CRM?
Well, we have found things that explain why Malaysians are different. One of the projects and one of the discoveries, in a sense, that Cancer Research Malaysia has found is that through looking at, say, just breast cancer, because it's one of the most important cancers in Malaysia, Cancer Research Malaysia has already created the biggest genomic map of Asian breast cancers. That's the biggest in the world. I think most breast cancers that we know the genes about, the genetic background about, are really from the more advanced countries and a Western type of population. So with this big genomic database of Asian breast cancers, you can say, well, so what? I mean, it's a huge collection. It's a collection you put on the shelf. No. We've been deep diving that data. And from there we can curate out, for example, how to look at risks for our Asian cancer patients. we can look at the genetic differences, and there are mutational and gene differences. Which are the genes that are more important for us, and which are the risk factors more important for us, and so on.
You mentioned it might be lifestyle changes that has led to some of these different cancers being more prevalent. What are the biggest risk factors for cancer at this moment in time, and which ones can people actually control? Because we know that some of it is genetic and we are predisposed to it already from birth. What are the ones that are the biggest risk factors, and what can we control?
Even though I say lung cancer has changed, I still think that the biggest risk factor to lung cancer still remains smoking.
People need to hear this. Yes.
You can't say, oh, lung cancer is now not so much small cell, and therefore you don't have to worry about smoking. That is a fallacy. Smoking is still the biggest risk for cancer, not just of lung, because smoking also is related to so many other things like cardiovascular disease and so on. So there is a lot tied up with the dangers of smoking.
Right.
Of course, the other risk factors are viruses, which are known agents. So the human papilloma virus, the cancer-causing types, there's enough research done in Malaysia as well as globally that shows that this is a major risk factor for cervical cancer. And therefore, vaccinating girls at the right age has been a very important move that the government took. And that, I think, will make its mark in due course in
Some
the
people feel
incidence.
that men should also take the vaccine for HPV. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they should.
Yeah.
Because the virus is transmitted through contact between men and women. And the men obviously will also carry the virus. So it is a logical step to also eliminate it in men.
Right.
And although it doesn't cause cancer in the male organ so much as women, it also can.
Oh.
So why not eliminate it? We've got a pretty good vaccine.
Yeah.
And it's a wise move.
Right.
I would
Could be
agree.
a step forward if they would make it perhaps even a part of our vaccination schedules that we have as a part of our lives that we are all adhering to already.
Exactly. So we should take the logical, beneficial steps.
Right. Any other big risk factors that come to mind?
Well, of course, the other one, hepatitis B. I mean, people get vaccinated now, so it did help for that. The other, a bit more subtle, but obesity is a fairly big factor for cancers like the large intestine, colorectal cancer. And that's rising very rapidly in the population. Of course, the pathway, the science behind it is not as straightforward.
Right.
But obesity links to a lot of inflammatory changes and so on, which finally lead to the inability of the body to eliminate mutations and so on. So it is quite important to have the right type of lifestyle so that you don't fall into all the ill effects of obesity. And honestly, I think our environment is quite cancer-inducing. We are seeing younger people getting cancer compared to the decades ago when cancer was really then a disease of older people. And of course, for young children, because then for young children it's more genetic based. But now we see younger people getting breast cancer, getting colorectal cancer, and so on. I think a lot of it is the environment we live in. Our environment has just too many carcinogens in the air we breathe, in the food we eat, in the water we drink.
We are doing it to ourselves in many cases.
I think we're just not managing our environment well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And some of it can be, well, some of the factors that you've mentioned we can take responsibility for on a personal level, but on other factors, it may be more systemic, because for some factors, like, for example, this is so difficult to discuss, because when it comes to obesity, I always feel, in my own opinion, that is both an issue that is personal and also societal at the same time, right? If you make all the food already unhealthy around you, then you're putting too much people may expect too much from a person to be responsible all their own. For a risk factor of someone who is obese, how is there a percentage that we can look at when it comes to the risk factors of developing cancer?
I can't put a figure to it because a lot of obesity actually expresses itself with the other chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, chronic heart disease.
Right.
They get stents put in, they die of heart attacks and so on. But certainly when it comes to cancer, there's a risk for colorectal, even for breast cancer, there is a risk. But the percentage, I'm sorry, I can't just immediately say.
Right. But it's definitely a factor.
It's definitely a factor.
Right.
And it may also explain why the age group is getting younger for getting cancers, is because the obesity rate is rising among younger people.
Right. Something we need to definitely take a look at as a society as well. Now, it's very exciting, Professor, that we've learned about the development of oral cancer vaccines. Can you share the key challenges and breakthroughs in developing the oral cancer vaccine currently in clinical trials? And what surprising insights have emerged so far, if any?
Well, developing a vaccine obviously is something that Cancer Research Malaysia will strive for, because, as you have also mentioned earlier, prevention is the most logical step to take. But developing a vaccine is not an easy task, because bringing bench to bedside, and it's a cliche, but it is a very long route and a very tough route. And to just look at what kind of vaccine can work is a lot of laboratory work that involves cell lines, picking on which particular target vaccine should work on, testing out on cell lines in animal models, and I won't bore you with all the detailed experiments and the heartbreaking failures along the way, but they did find a vaccine that was promising, in that when we worked on animal models, it seemed to work against oral cancer. And of course, oral cancer is something we were interested in because it's a neglected cancer that the West will not work on, but it's important for Malaysia. So it goes back to the theme that we want to look at cancers that are important for Asians. But after having done that, to bring it to clinical trial is important, because you cannot just jump from something that works in animals to humans and just like that you expect it to take off. Obviously, it's not. I mean, logically, that's a big jump. It's how do you know? I mean, we are animals, true, but we're not mice. Sometimes we are mice, but generally no. And there are a lot of phases when you want to bring something to clinic. In clinical trials, we may be familiar with something the 4 phases of clinical trials. But in simple logical reasoning, you would think that the first step would be to make sure that this product, let's say a vaccine, doesn't do any harm to the human body. Even if you say it's super good for killing cancer cells, but will it just kill the person straight away?
Because side effects and what else does it do?
So the first is to see whether it's tolerated by the human body. If there are side effects, is this acceptable side effects that are so minor that you don't have to worry too much about? Then if that works, then you go to the next phase and say, well, does it set out to do what it's supposed to do? Does it knock off the the cancer cells that's supposed to knock off within the human body.
Right.
So that's the next phase. And then the next phase is to find out, if you do it in an unbiased way, what they call a randomized controlled trial, do you really get significant results that it really is not a spurious kind of observation.
You measure it against a control group to make sure
Yes.
that it actually, the
And it's a
vaccine that is making the
non-biased
difference.
kind of control group,
Right.
comparable groups. And then, of course, the last phase would be the question of, so what? So you've got something, but is it better than what we already have? So is it superior? Is it at least non-inferior? Is it cheaper? Is it more affordable?
Right.
I mean, these are all the big questions you have to do.
Right.
So it is challenging for an organization like Cancer Research Malaysia, which is not a huge institution with a huge amount of funding behind it. Our job was merely to look at research. So to be able to take it to clinical trials means you need partners. And partners are willing to invest in the trials, and seeking for partners was the biggest challenge, because this is the first time we are trying to bring our own product and say, give it a try.
Right.
It may work. And we have to show very good science behind it that it works.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge.
This process can be so heartbreaking for someone who's involved in it, like such as yourself. I mean, what guiding principles, Professor, or values do you lean on when experiments or trials don't go as planned sometimes?
Well, the experiments will always have some that don't go to plan. So it's something that you have to be aware of when you start off with experiments.
Right.
You're right, the guiding principles are important, because that's how you face disappointments. And in clinical trials, the guiding principles are actually fairly straightforward. As a medical doctor, it's more or less ingrained in me, and I'm sure in all the medical scientists and researchers too. The first principle would be do no harm.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to know that if you're setting out something that might do harm, then don't do it.
Right.
I mean, if the experiment doesn't work, and you try to find out why it didn't work, but if you force it and it does harm, then you should stop it. So examine what went wrong and correct what may be the step that has made the experiment fail.
Right.
But in that process, make sure that it doesn't cause any increased risk or increased, I've used the word harm because we have used the harm to the patient. So the willingness to pull out an experiment that is really more harmful than beneficial is very important. You have to take that step.
Right. Knowing that whatever failure that you face brings you closer perhaps to the end goal, which is a vaccine that is viable and does no harm.
Does no harm and is safe.
Right.
I mean, it has to be safe, otherwise you shouldn't be.
Yeah. Is the
pushing
goal
for it.
keeping you moving then, is knowing that you're getting closer to
I think
the
that's
end
the
goal?
point. I think everything has to be refined so that it's effective, it is efficacious,
Right.
it is useful.
Right.
It does fill a gap that is there,
Right.
and most importantly, it's safe. And I think the second principle I've always held is that to be ready to be audited. Don't hide anything,
Right.
because you need an independent audit to see, whether what you're doing is correct in both the scientific aspects as well as the ethical aspects.
Hearing you speak about your process and and the way you think when it comes to developing the vaccine makes me feel secure knowing that when this vaccine finally comes to market, I'd be willing to actually take it because you take it so seriously as well. Professor, what programs has Cancer Research Malaysia launched to improve public understanding of cancer prevention and early signs? Some people might feel that there is so much information about this already, but I personally don't think that there's enough. So, what do you think when it comes to improving public understanding of cancer prevention and early signs?
It's a bit of a loaded question. I mean, Cancer Research Malaysia is a research thing, so obviously it's not.
Not on the awareness side as much.
I mean, it does try to promote awareness, but it is the main focus is discovery, innovation, improving understanding, and so on. But we do have a lot of engagement with the public in that. A lot of public come to visit us, for example, just to see what we do. I think that inspires them. We do have one of the programs that we are quite far into the game is a patient navigation program. It may not be so much awareness of cancer as such, but that public engagements, I think, spins off to the public. In patient navigation, we help patients understand how to navigate all the complex areas that relate with a cancer diagnosis, including the screening. Because some people don't screen because it's so difficult. They don't know where to go. And it's so... there's so many...
It's complicated. Right.
You know. And
because there are many... The road from discovering, from diagnosis to being able to say a person is either in remission or cancer-free, there are many roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
You put that very well. But for a cancer patient receiving a diagnosis, can you imagine he or she has to navigate to CT scan, to staging, then he's got to go for rehabilitation, he's got to go for treatment, and clinics after clinics, and it's costly, he has to pay this, he has to do that. And he or she has to travel long distances. And after that, the follow-ups, I think a lot of people give up. They give up because they're just too tired and they don't have all the help within the family.
Right.
So the patient navigation program that Cancer Research Malaysia put so much effort into, I think, has improved the survival of cancer patients quite a lot in that the percentage of patients able to complete their treatment and get to follow the treatment pathway has improved from, to one figure kind of percentage to double figures.
Wow.
And we hope to do a lot more. So we're setting up quite a lot of navigation programs throughout Malaysia, both East Malaysia and West Malaysia, and in partnership with the Ministry of Health.
Right. It sounds like the biggest benefit of the patient navigation program is to be able to save the patient time when it comes to seeking out that next step in their treatment.
Time is obviously one of them. The other is just assurance that they really do reap the benefits that already exist within our healthcare system for them. There's a lot that is available in the healthcare system for screening, for support, for rehabilitation, for treatment, for whatever. But as I said, to navigate all that is a huge maze.
Yeah.
And people lose out because they give up.
Where do they go to find out what services they need then? Where's that first stop that a cancer patient who's first found out at diagnosis point that they've been diagnosed with cancer? where do they go to find out what their options are? Is there a place?
Well, I suppose in the first place, when the diagnosis is made, they talk to their doctor, and the doctor will say that you need to be staged. We need to know how advanced the cancer is, because an early cancer is different from an advanced cancer, so you have to go for staging scans. So they're going to navigate to imaging and so on. Not everybody knows where to go for that.
Yeah. Are there support services is there someone they can talk to? Is that
that is
right?
basically the program. The health service is sometimes so busy. I mean, the nurse or the doctor can say, so I give you an appointment, you can go down to imaging. Then your mind is, where on earth is imaging?
Yeah.
And who's going to take me there?
Yeah.
If you have somebody with you who's able to navigate with you, that's fine, but not everybody has that. So this patient navigation program provides that kind of support.
Right.
You can go to the navigation center, which then helps you to say, well, this is where you go, this is how it would take you.
Right.
These are the people who provide that kind of support service, actually help them go
It's all
around.
online?
It's online and it's in person as well.
As well, okay.
Yeah.
Is there an app for it as well, or is it?
I'm not sure that there's an app in it, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are already many services where the appointments are online,
Right.
but you still have to turn up.
Yes.
So somebody has to tell you where to go.
Right. Well, it seems like a step forward, but it also seems like there may still be some gaps that need to be filled to help a person,
So
like
it
this, especially
does
someone who's trying to
involve-
navigate it alone without support from family, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, a person who's already feeling ill and then having to deal with that. But it's great.
this,
that
I
we're
think,
making
is more
steps.
personal than just an app.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also helps to actually seek out all the benefits the government has for people who, there's some things that are free,
Yeah.
there's some things that are discounted for cancer patients, and patients may not know.
Yes.
So this navigation, the navigators help
Right.
you reap all those benefits, and also puts a human face to the care.
Are they found in every public hospital?
We're increasing the numbers.
Right.
So in the past year, I think it's probably increased by almost twice the numbers already, because we've got good support from Ministry of Health to set up such centers.
Okay.
So over time, I think this is something that will become hopefully quite well established within the healthcare service.
To find out where the centers are, is there a website?
It's actually all over the major hospitals now,
Right.
and even some of the district hospitals
Right. Located on site.
on site.
Right. That's definitely helpful. Yeah, good to know that there is someone that they can turn to help figure out what do I do next and where do I go.
Yes.
How is Cancer Research Malaysia partnering with the Ministry of Health to improve national screening programs? This would be a part of the prevention as well, or detection early, right? Early detection.
Yeah, I suppose to some extent it's incorporated in the navigation program that there is also a screening component. I think the country has its own screening programs that are already existing. So it's really helping patients assess those screening programs that
Like they're available, it's just for the person to actually go for the screenings, make an appointment. Because I know that at one point, every Malaysian man and woman who turned 40 would receive a letter that would invite them to a full body screening. I gotta say, I missed mine. I did not get it, but So yeah, things like that where you get a reminder to go and get a checkup.
Yeah, I think in the healthcare services they take care of that.
Yeah.
As a research institution, we cannot impose on that. But what we can do in the research area is to perhaps work on perhaps new targets of screening and so on. I can't say that we have created a big mark there yet, because most of the work that we're doing in discovery science have been more on the genetics part of it,
Right.
and then working towards a more accurate diagnosis and a more precise diagnosis, which can make a difference subsequently to how to treat the patient, because a precise diagnosis stratifies out
Right.
which patient responds to what treatment better.
Right. Right.
And you don't therefore waste the treatment. You offer a patient a treatment that's not going to work because that cancer doesn't have the correct pathway for that drug to work.
Knowing exactly what you have, or as close to exactly what you have.
Yeah, that is sort of a targeted treatment kind of thing,
Right.
personalized medicine.
Right.
That has been more the focus, and then subsequently into the modifying treatment or repurposing drugs that will target the right aspects. That has been Cancer Research Malaysia's strength in research. So that's why I can't answer the screening part so much, because that's really the operational part of the Ministry of Health.
That makes sense. Professor, you've done so much in your career already as a mentor and leader. What do you hope your legacy at Cancer Research Malaysia will be for the next generation of Malaysian pathologists and cancer researchers? You've done so much already. How do they continue to build on what you've set?
Well, I don't see this as a personal legacy. I mean, it's what we all do in the profession, in whichever profession you have chosen to be. I tend to look at legacy in two ways.
Right.
The one that I really want to see happen is not so much a personal legacy, but to which I have also put a lot of effort. And that is actually public awareness of the importance of research. People don't realize that research is their responsibility. And my reason for saying that is because if you're trying to fight a battle like cancer, you cannot fight it if you don't know your enemy. The more you know your enemy, the better your chance at fighting it. And therefore, cancer research, to fight cancer, if you do not invest in research, you're going to be in status quo. And finally, the cancer wins. Because the cancer mutates and progresses, and it's got a mind of its own, so to say. And then here you're just staying behind and not researching it. So you can say, oh, others can do the research. But if public do not support research and cancer research at that, you're not investing in your future. You're not investing in the future of your children and your grandchildren who will also face cancer. And to be able to reverse cancer and reduce the harm and the fear of cancer, you have to research it. So to me, I'm answering your question in a roundabout way, but I've spent a lot of time trying to explain to people why cancer research is necessary and they should support it, whether by donations or by whatever in-kind means. And not say that it's some other person's responsibility. It
seems to be undervalued. Is that what it feels like? It's undervalued.
It's research. Undervalued. I wouldn't put it in so negative. It's just that they don't understand the importance of their personal contribution towards research. And then, of course, my second message in terms of a legacy to the pathologists that I've trained and to the researchers I've trained is to be true to your research. I mean, you have to put passion into your research. You have to be creative and not just say that my PhD is in this and therefore I'm going to only focus on this. I mean, you have to think out of the box. You have to be creative, to be bold, to be innovative, to to seek.
When you look
new
around you, do you
pathways.
see this happening?
There will be that spark in some of them,
Right.
and there'll be some who would just say that I'd stay in the safe kind of research and
Right. So you've seen both sides.
I've seen
and
both
all
sides. I mean,
types.
that's people. But researchers have to be bold and innovative.
I
to
love that.
seek out new angles
Right.
to tackle cancer.
And to see the change and development that will help, or ultimately not just if a person is looking for to be appreciated while also helping people at the same time, this is the perfect avenue for it.
Yes.
Because you achieve both at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Professor, we've come to the rapid fire question segment of this interview, and we're going to use this rapid fire segment or part of the interview to try to debunk or learn more about some commonly held beliefs about cancer. So, short, succinct answers about your thoughts on what people think. Okay, let's go with the first one. Does eating sugar feed cancer cells and make tumors grow faster?
Well, I would say no. All cells need sugar.
Right.
Cancer cells will grow faster, irregardless of whether you feed it more sugar or not. It will just take whatever sugar it wants.
All right.
And by depriving sugar or starving what you think is starving a cancer, you probably will deprive your normal cells of what it needs as well.
That's clarifying a lot already. Do antioxidant supplements like high-dose vitamin C or E protect against cancer? Protect against cancer.
I mean, there's some logical basis to it in that it helps your body to fight DNA damage. But what I would say, if you're going to depend on supplements like this to fight cancer, I think it's not going to be a very effective way of fighting cancer. I think a balanced diet with more balanced antioxidants would do a better job than just focusing on one or two
This isn't a
supplements.
silver bullet.
Yeah.
This is one that you hear a lot. Well, I seem to read up a lot on in social media. Do cell phone or Wi-Fi signals significantly raise cancer risks? You hear about those 5G towers that people keep associating with diagnosis. Your thoughts, Doctor? Professor?
I don't think there's science to support that. It's a totally different frequency. Wi-Fi is radio frequency.
Yeah.
Whereas what causes cancer is ionizing radiation. And this is just not ionizing radiation. No.
So many people need to hear that from you, Professor. Absolutely. Next question. Is it true that using plastic containers in microwaves release cancer-causing chemicals?
Microwavable plastics are made so that they don't release these chemicals. So, no.
Short and direct. And finally, will cutting out all fats from a person's diet help prevent cancer?
Well, that's a very nice wish list, but I would say no. You need some fat.
Yeah.
There's some good fat
Yeah.
from avocados, nuts, and so
Steak.
on, which are important
Right.
for your cells.
Yeah.
I mean, many of your cell membranes need fat, and your brain needs fat.
Yeah.
So if you cut it all out, I think your body will suffer a lot more.
Right.
And
So don't cut fats out completely.
no, I mean, basically everything has to be in a balanced form. So I think to be a diet extremist is actually quite harmful.
No matter what that diet is,
Yeah.
if you're going to an extreme of any form of diet.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a closing question that we ask all of our guests, Professor. And we want to know your thoughts. If you had the opportunity to make one change as Prime Minister of Malaysia for a day, just one day, what would it be and why? What would that change be?
Oh my. Basically, I want to get all the stakeholders on cancer together and let them meet each other and talk about what they can do collectively
Right.
to improve the cancer scene. And the biggest challenge that I see is that we've got different pockets of talent and approaches to cancer, all with good purpose in mind, helping cancer patients, but it's not effective if they work in silos.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge is availability of, say, diagnostics and therapeutics, accessibility, and more importantly, affordability. I mean, there are lots of things that Malaysia has, from screening to diagnosis to treatment to palliative to whatever. But it is not available to everyone because it's not affordable for everyone. And we know that, I mean, like any cancer patient can tell you, it's hugely expensive, it's hugely exhausting. And whatever we say we can provide will not be equitable if we do not get our act together to see what we can do. So I think somebody, maybe the Prime Minister, can bring them all together and have and get them to meet each other, whether they are academics or researchers or innovators or entrepreneurs or lawyers or social workers and patients and
You highlight such
mothers and
an
fathers.
amazingly good point that people overlook all the time, which is sometimes the only thing stopping a person from getting the treatment, any treatment really, but in this case, the cancer treatment that they need. The only thing sometimes is the cost.
Yes,
It's the ability to afford it.
Yeah.
And that is tragic.
That is it. The inequity of affordability is a major issue. So cancer faced by a person who has resources is very different from someone who does not have resources.
It's not too late to run for the next election, you know.
It's a big inequity
I'll
issue.
vote for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you to Datuk
It's a
Professor
pleasure
Dr.
talking to you.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure. Datuk Professor Dr. Looi Lai-Meng. We learned so much today, and we look forward to our next guest as well, who will join us on Live Confessions here on Shock. Thank you again, Professor.
Thank you very much.